Hey everybody, it's me, Eric Comley, and this is On the Ground with Eric Comley, your 4-H agent. I am sitting on the ground here. It is May and about 45 degrees outside, so it's just generally terrible outside right now. But I do have a really amazing plant that I wanted to show you all right after I tell you that I've been doing these segments now for, this is the 34th segment that I've done. So I'm pretty excited about being able to get out and see some of these cool flowers. And Kentucky is just a really beautiful state, and all these different wildflowers from all these different parts of Kentucky. I'm hoping to get over to Western Kentucky sometime soon and see some stuff there. But I'm hoping that these segments allow some of the springtime to come into you. We're just in this kind of weird situation right now, and some people may not feel comfortable getting out, some people may not want to get out, some people just can't get out, or you just don't have the plants in your backyard, and I want to have the opportunity to kind of show off some of those to you. So I've been doing these segments called On the Ground. But I wanted to show you all this one. This is another one of our orchids. This one is called Putty Root Orchid. It's also called Adam and Eve Orchid. Okay, the scientific name for this one is Aplectrum Hyemale. Okay, and it's obviously in the Orchidaceae family. So a little bit of the etymology of it. Number one, so Aplectrum means without spur. So if you look at this, and you know anything about the orchids, there's another group of orchids that's the genus Platanthera, and they have a spur on them. Okay, Aplectrum simply means without spur. Hyemale, okay, and there's other plants with this too. So like Equisetum, which is called horsetail. Hyemale, the epithet simply means of winter or wintry. Okay, and I'll explain that one here in just a second. I may actually have to do this in a couple of different parts. So this plant, Putty Root or Adam and Eve, the reason it's called that is Putty Root. It's the corm of it, and they usually have two corms. Okay, an old corm if it's a mature plant, and a new corm. And the corm of it is kind of a mucilaginous, mushy once you get inside of it. And Native Americans actually use it to repair pottery. So it did have absolutely a use. The other name for it, Adam and Eve, comes back to that corm as well. And that corm, because there was an old one and there was one that came from it, then there was the reference to the biblical story, Adam and Eve, about the rib being taken from Adam to make Eve, and so the corm coming from another to make this other corm. So it's a really beautiful orchid. It's got this kind of purplish fringe on it. You see that it's not terribly colorful, and I'm going to talk a little bit about that here in just a second. But it has this kind of purplish color. The white, it has a white lip, which these flowers are not open yet. They'll come open in the next couple of days. We need a little bit of warmth, some sun, that would do them some good. But it has kind of a white lip, which has some pink actually on the lip, and it has kind of a fringe on it as well. It is a absolutely beautiful flower. So anyway, so it's you can see, like I said, that it's not green, or it's not green, but it's kind of a brownish color. It does get a little bit green at the top. So in Kentucky, we have, like I said, I've told you all before, we have 33 different species of orchids. Most of those are, are relatively showy, bright, beautiful colors, but there's a few, like 6, that don't really fit into that mold. Okay, so there are 4 that are what are called myco-heterotropic. Okay. And simply what that means is that all orchids require this fungal relationship, but those myco-heterotropic plants, they require it be on the roots of trees. Okay, so there's actually 3 different species in Coral Lauraza, which are your coral roots, and then there's one that's called crested coral root, and so those are 4 of them, and those require that it be on the roots of another plant. Then there are 2 that actually don't require it, so they are not in that mycoheterotropic group, but they do something weird a little bit. So what they do is they actually send a leaf out, okay, and this is where the hyemale comes from. It says of winter. So they send a leaf out, and that leaf, like the leaf of this particular plant for putty root, for Aplectrum, it actually comes out in the fall. And so it has all these really beautiful lines on it, and I'll show you all here some in here in just a second. I'll turn the camera around. But it sends this leaf out in the winter or in the fall, and it overwinters. So it's evergreen, stays on there, or not evergreen, but stays on there through the spring. And then, like you see here, 1st of May is when you get a bloom. So that leaf will die back as the bloom comes closer to actually coming up. So it's a little bit different the way that it does it. Usually everything kind of comes out. When we think about wildflowers, we think about leaves and flower, and everything comes up at one time, all dies back at one time. With this one, leaf comes out first, dies back a little bit, flower comes out first, seeds will then disperse, and then that process hopefully will continue. So as far as the habitat type that it enjoys, well-drained soils, obviously, what I'm looking at here is a little bit of a hillside, but it likes these kind of deep shaded areas like this with really rich soils. So not as, doesn't like, it's not as acidic needing as some of the other ones. So anyway, I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to turn this around and let you all see the leaves, because that's usually what we pick out in the winter for us to see. So I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the leaves, and you can see the stripes in those leaves. The other member of this group, these non-mycoheterotropic group with the 2 in it, you've got putty root, which is the flower that you all seen before, and then you also have what is called cranefly orchid, Tipularia discolor, and it does the exact same thing. It puts a leaf out first, which looks kind of similar to this one. Puts a leaf out first, and then that leaf dies back, and then and then the flower will come up, and it'll actually come up a little bit later in the season, and so we'll get the chance to see that one as well. And if I'm out and about and I see that one in the leaf form, I'll definitely point that one out. So the thing about Tipularia, though, unlike this one has these kind of obvious stripes that are on it. The veination in it is parallel, which is very typical of monocots. But then with Tipularia, if you turn the leaf over on Tipularia, it usually is a very bright purple color on the underneath. Okay, so anyway, this is these are the leaves of Aplectrum or putty root. So anyway, this is putty root. Really cool flower. Most of the time what happens is people will find those leaves that I just showed you all in the winter time, and then in the summertime, they'll come back and they'll look for those plants. I cannot stress to you enough how important it is that you leave the plants where they are. I've tried to explain many times about the importance of that mycorrhizal fungal relationship that's required by those by the seeds and by the corms and everything. So especially the seeds, because they don't have endosperm, or they don't have that outside where the seed has something to feed on. So they have to feed on that fungal relationship. And so it is incredibly important that we leave these things in their natural habitat, because if we don't, then we end up losing these, because you know, we want to see them grow in our garden. So I hope that you all have enjoyed this plant. I love this plant. I'm actually going to take a few pictures of it before I go. But anyway, this is you know, this has really been fun, and I'm continuing to enjoy doing these, so I hope that you all are as well. But I'll let you all go. Please stay safe, stay healthy, and if you ever have any questions about anything relating to spring wildflowers or wildflowers or to 4-H, feel free to contact me at Eric, ERIC.Comley, COMLEY @uky.edu, or you can also contact me on the Garrard County 4-H Facebook page. But this has been On the Ground with your 4-H agent, Eric Comley. Thank you all.